New tonight, Trudeau threatening Trump, the outgoing Canadian Prime Minister warning President Trump of immediate retaliation to Trump's executive order late yesterday. That order slapped a 25% tariff on Canadian steel and aluminum.
Tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum would be entirely unjustified. If it comes to that, our response, of course, will be firm and clear.
Now, keep in mind, the United States buys more steel and aluminum from Canada than anywhere else in the world. A quarter of all U.S. steel imports come from Canada. And Trump's tariff, which again, he's already signed an executive order, is set to take effect on March 12th. Out front now, Chrystia Freeland. She was Canada's Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister under Trudeau until she resigned in December, and she is now one of the front runners to replace him in this next election. So, Chrystia, I so much appreciate your time. When you hear that warning from Prime Minister Trudeau, who of course is on his way out, and then all of this has blown up after that was announced, will it make President Trump think twice about these new tariffs that are in the executive order?
Well, it should. The Prime Minister is absolutely right. These tariffs are illegal, they are unjustified, and crucially, Aaron, they are self-mutilating for the United States. They're going to hurt the U.S. really badly. And we know that because it's not the first time this has happened. In 2018, the United States imposed tariffs of 25% on Canadian steel, 10% on Canadian aluminum. And in 2019, the U.S. dropped those tariffs, mostly because those tariffs hurt the U.S. and also because we did as the Prime Minister said we would do. We retaliated, dollar for dollar retaliation, and it hurt. You know, I think you guys sometimes think Canada, well, actually, I don't think Americans think about Canada all that often, which is fine with us. But what you should remember is we are actually your largest market. We are larger than China, Japan, the UK, and France combined. And that means we have economic leverage. Our country is really united behind this. We will use that leverage. And you guys are the people who invented the saying, the customer is always right.
So I do point out when you're saying the last time around when those tariffs were imposed and the tit for tat, that was also in a Trump presidency. So it's an important analogy that you're drawing here. You posted a very direct warning. You're saying this here, but on social media yesterday, you spoke directly to Trump. Let me just play it for anyone who hasn't seen it.
I have a message today for President Trump. If you force our hand, we will inflict the biggest trade blow that the United States has ever endured.
What does that trade blow look like if you're the next prime minister?
Dollar for dollar retaliation. Any tariff imposed on Canada, Canada will respond to, and our response is going to be smart and targeted. The tariffs the U.S. is threatening Canada with are across the board, and they're going to hurt you. Take aluminum. Aluminum is basically electricity in solid form, and in imposing a 25% tariff on Canadian aluminum, you're hurting yourselves. You're putting a 25% tax on electricity, and you actually need more electricity today in this AI race with China.
Yep.
Our retaliation is going to be a lot more surgical than that. We are going to go after American stakeholders who matter to the White House. I have proposed a 100% tariff on all Teslas. I am calling on all the countries that are affected by this tariff to join us, and our retaliation will target specific Trump constituencies. Another group that we're going to go after is Wisconsin dairy farmers. We know how important they are for the president, and we're not going to let them sell their products in Canada anymore. But I also want to say to you, Aaron, we don't have to do this.
Yeah.
We have a balanced, mutually beneficial relationship with the United States. We think the best path is to continue with that relationship. I was Canada's lead negotiator the last time Trump was president, and we had a lot of fighting and a lot of insults. But at the end of the day, the tariffs were lifted by the United States. We got a trade agreement that Trump said was the best deal ever. And today, the president campaigned on saying he was going to go after China. He campaigned on saying China is an unfair participant in the global economy and has overcapacity in steel and aluminum. We think the president is right about that. We do not want to have a fight with you. We would prefer to be your partner, and we can be a great partner. But if you hit us, we're going to have to hit you back.
It's interesting when you talk about you were a lead negotiator. I mean, when this all started, and you resigned, he lashed out. He called you totally toxic, not at all conducive to making deals. I'm sure you saw the post. She will not be missed. And of course, you could be coming back as prime minister. Can I just ask you, though, Chrystia, Elon Musk, you're choosing, obviously, you talk about constituents core to the White House, and you mentioned that 100% tariff on Teslas that you would go ahead with if Trump imposes these tariffs. I mean, that's basically an acknowledgement that Elon Musk is he's really in a class of his own. He's the single most important person. I mean, it's literally just economic acknowledgement of that fact.
Yeah, look, you're American, and you guys will have the best judgments about your political system and who's influential and who isn't. But we listen to you, we listen to your reporting, and we will design our retaliation to target the people who we think are the most influential, the people who, if they are feeling pain from our retaliation, will say to the president, let's not do this anymore. That's the outcome that we want. And by the way, we think that's going to be the best outcome for the U.S. too.
Right. Of course, though, when you point out choose the government, the American people elected Donald Trump, not Elon Musk, but they have them both now, at least the way that it is playing out thus far. Well, Chrystia Freeland, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
I appreciate yours. Thanks a lot.